You are not exhausted from doing too much. You are exhausted from the cost of never stopping the show. And the part of you that already knows that, has known it for a long time. You know the version of yourself you show people. You know the tone you reach for. The words you select. The parts of the story you fold in and the parts you quietly set aside. You have run this version so many times that it no longer feels like a version. It feels like just how you talk. How you are. And then, sometimes, not often, but sometimes, you catch it mid-sentence. You hear your own words arriving before you chose them. You notice the small adjustment you made, automatically, without deciding to, because some part of you read the room and calibrated. And for just a second, before the performance closes back over, something is visible underneath. Something that has been running for a very long time. Something tired in a way that sleep does not touch. This video is about what that is. How it started. And what it has been quietly costing you. If there is a distance between how your life looks from the outside and what it actually feels like to live inside it, this channel exists for that distance. Because that distance was not an accident. It was built. Carefully. Over years. To protect you from something that felt more dangerous than the cost of building it. Across these videos, we have been tracing one wound, the gap between who you are and who you learned, early, to be instead. In the last video, we looked at what happened to your feeling. The internal room where everything you could not show was stored. Today, we go one layer further. Today, we trace what happened to your performing. Because the room was not the end of the story. What you constructed around it, on top of it, in place of it, that is what we need to see. On the outside, you are very good at people. Not in the way that means you enjoy them. In the way that means you understand them. You read rooms. You sense what someone needs before they say it. You calibrate your volume, your warmth, your level of presence, to match what the moment is asking for. People find you easy to be around. People trust you quickly. People often leave a conversation with you feeling seen. And in the back of your mind, in a place you do not visit often, you know that a significant part of what they experienced was something you built. Not fake. Not a lie. But not, entirely, you. You have probably had a moment where someone describes you to someone else, summarizes you, tells a room who you are, and you listen, and they are not wrong, exactly, and yet something in you does not recognize the person they are describing. And you nod. And you add something that confirms the description. And the performance continues. You have probably been in a conversation where you were completely present, listening well, responding well, holding the right expression at the right moments. While somewhere underneath, you were not there at all. Not dissociated. Not broken. Just running the version of yourself that knows how to handle this situation. While the rest of you waited, somewhere off stage. Here is what no one tells you about that. The performance is not a lie. It is not manipulation. It is a survival technology so refined, so practiced, so completely automatic, that it runs without your involvement. You did not decide to become a performer. You were trained into one. In an environment where the unedited version of you did not produce what you needed. And I want to show you exactly when the rehearsals began. Because you were there. You were in every scene. You just do not know yet that what you are remembering was a stage. Here is the first clue. There was a version of you that was unedited. Before you understood that certain things landed badly. Before you learned that certain emotions made the room shift. Before you discovered that some parts of you were easier for everyone, including yourself, when they stayed off stage. And at some point, not all at once, not in a single conversation, you noticed the pattern. You noticed that when a certain version of you showed up, said certain things, felt certain feelings out loud, the response you got was not the one you needed. Not punishment. Not cruelty. Something quieter. Withdrawal. A slight cooling. A shift in the temperature of the room. Or simply, the look. The specific expression that communicated, that is too much. That version of you is not what this moment needs. And your system, watching carefully, tracking everything, doing what systems do, received the information and began to edit. Not dramatically. Slowly. The way a stage manager adjusts the set between performances. Nothing obvious, just certain things moved, certain lines cut, certain expressions quietly lowered. Until what remained was a version of yourself that worked. That landed. That got the room back. And you got so good at performing that version that the stage disappeared. You are not doing a performance anymore. You are just you. Except the you that you are is the you that was shaped by 10,000 small adjustments, made to hold the attention of an audience that no longer exists in the room. That is clue 1. Fast forward. You are older. The performance is more polished. You do not have to think about it, it runs itself. You enter a room and the calibration begins before you have taken your coat off. What you have not noticed yet is that you can no longer find the exit from the stage. The stage was supposed to be somewhere you went, not something you became. You are the person who holds it together in a crisis. But sometimes, in the silence after, you notice something strange. You felt more present during the emergency than you do in ordinary life. Because during the emergency, the role was clear. The performance had a script. In the ordinary moments, between performances, there is sometimes a strange blankness, an uncertainty, a sense of not quite knowing what to do with yourself when no one is watching. Think about the last time you were completely alone. Not lonely, just alone for an extended stretch. No one to perform for. And for some people, it feels like something else. Empty, structureless. Like being in a theater after the audience has filed out, and the lights have come up, and there is nothing left to do. Because the performance was what gave the space its shape. And without it, you are not entirely sure who is left. Think about the last time someone asked you a simple question. Not a complex one. A simple one. What do you want? Notice how long it took. Notice whether what came first was an answer, or a calculation. What do I want? Or what should I want, given this person, this room, this version of me that is currently on stage? That calculation is the performance still running. Even when there is no audience. Even when the only person in the room is you. That is clue 2. Here is the part that does not get said. The performance is not the enemy. The performance is not evidence that something is broken inside you. The performance is one of the most sophisticated adaptations a human being can build. What developmental researchers call the false self, and what Winnicott traced across decades of clinical observation, is not a pathology. It is a protective architecture, built by a child whose authentic self was not consistently safe to bring into the world. The child does not decide to perform. The child learns, from the precise feedback of a precise environment, which version of themselves opens doors, and which version closes them. And then, because children are extraordinary, because survival comes before everything, they build the version that opens doors. They build the stage. Think about the person you are in a room full of people you do not know. And then think about the person you are at 11 p.m., when you are tired enough that the performance has run out of fuel. Notice the gap. For most people watching this, the 11 p.m. version is quieter, less certain, less sure of what to say, or how to hold itself, or whether what it offers is enough. Some people call it the real version. Most people are quietly afraid of it. Because that version has never held the full audience. It has never been given the stage. It has never found out, fully, with the lights on, whether it can hold the room. Your performing self did not betray you. It kept you connected. In the only way it knew was safe. In the only space where being close to someone felt possible. Always. That is clue 3. 3 clues. 1 origin. Running since before you had any language for what you were doing. You were not born performing. You were not born with a need to manage how you are perceived. You were not born with this distance between the inside and the outside. You were born with a need for contact. Real contact, the kind where you are fully seen and it is safe to be fully seen, and in the repeated experience of that contact being conditional, being partial, being contingent on which version of you walked through the door. You built the version that could always earn it. What you are living inside is called childhood emotional neglect, and one of its most specific and least discussed expressions is the development of what psychologists call the adapted self. The problem is not that you adapted. The problem is that the adaptation is still the operating system, still running in rooms where it is no longer necessary, still performing for audiences that left years ago, still keeping the real version off stage. Because the real version has never once received the signal that the show is allowed to end. That is what built the exhaustion. That is what has been sustaining it. Every single day since. Here is what changes when you know this. The performance is not permanent. It was built under specific conditions. Conditions that no longer hold in the same way. The person you are now is not the child who learned the first lines. You are standing in a different environment, with a different nervous system, and, for the first time, a name for why you are so tired. That naming is more important than it sounds. Because when you know it is a performance, when you understand it was built for connection, not deception, you can begin to notice it while it is running. Not stop it. Not dismantle it. Just catch it. And ask who you are performing for. Tonight, the next time you feel yourself calibrating, the next time you notice the automatic edit, the slight adjustment before the words come out, the quick internal read of what this room needs from you. Do not judge it. Do not try to stop it. Just pause for 1 second and ask, is this person still in the room? You do not have to stop performing tonight. You only have to notice once that you are doing it, and understand that on the other side of the performance, there is still someone there. The stage is not the self. The performance was built with everything you had. You do not have to live on it forever. The next video goes somewhere most people are not ready to go. Because understanding that you built a stage, and understanding what it costs to perform on it for 20 years, alone, for no one, are two entirely different things. The stage changed more than how you showed up. It changed what you believed was available to you. What you believed you were permitted to want. What you understood to be the true version of yourself, and whether that version deserved to be witnessed. The stage taught you something specific about worth. That what you actually are, unedited, unperformed, unrehearsed, might not be enough to hold the room. The next video is about that belief. Where it came from. And the specific, quiet, devastating way it has been keeping the curtain down.